Hello, how are you? I hope you're good. Welcome to the ASMR. I'm just joking, obviously. Welcome to a tier ranking video. I know this is not for everyone, but it is judgment time and I will judge, god damn it. This is not for everyone and I don't know if this is fun to watch, but it is fun to make. And I've never actually made one of these before, so we're gonna forgive me. We're just gonna get away with it and do it. I think I've read 51 books. I'm hoping they're all here. I could have gone fucked up, but hopefully they're here. Today I will be passing judgment on all of the 51 books that I have read in 2022. I think most of them I have covered. If I didn't, then here we are. I'm gonna do that today. Grab yourself a snack. Let's see how this looks like. I'll place myself here. So the scale is as follows. I should have DNF'd, a clear indicator that I was not enjoying the book, and I persevered. I really kind of sucked at DNFing books this time, I will say. There will be some books that I think were, so bad that I probably should have DNF'd them. A step above that is Girls Gone Mild, which is a very mild book. I don't feel too strongly about it. It wasn't as bad, so I feel like I read it for no reason and I should have not read it. It was just okay, but it's one of those that was just whatever, mild. We got feelings, but we got mild feeling. Leveling Up to Good Time, but Not a Long Time. It's a book that was a good time while you read it, but you're not gonna probably think about it for a very long time. It's not going to be something you're going to probably return to. It was what it was, and it was good. It was possibly like a 3.5 feeling stars. But for one reason or the other, it didn't quite like stand out too much. It was just okay. It was okay. It's not a bad rating. It was okay. And then we have I Like You Have a Cupcake. So this is for, the good ones. I would recommend to most people more things that I enjoyed than that I didn't. Not the best one, but it's a very, very good one. And our top tier this time is Rent Free. Just living in my head, Rent Free. Very much recommend to most people, depending on a book, obviously. And will probably cozy up in my brain for a long while to come. So whilst I Like You Have a Cupcake, in my live in my brain a bit, it will be paying rent. No freeloading for those books. Well, I personally don't believe that you can have objective reviews, but I feel like this scale is more subjective than like a compile scale. Like this is just really going for like how I enjoyed and like these books and if they're gonna live in my head for longer or not. With that being said, let's start. I tried to upload these in order from how I read them, but when I uploaded the pictures, they all just kind of got muddled in together. So we're gonna start with the one that I did read fairly early on and fell in love with. Straight up recommended to a bunch of people right there, right then. Day Tripper. It's a comic I still would highly recommend. It's highly emotional, highly beautiful. It tells a tale. The tale is about tales too. It's beautiful. It's about life. Would highly recommend. And then we have The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches, which I honestly so enjoyed. It was like a hug. It was more of a hug than the Cerulean Sea was to me. I feel like that one is what people normally refer as to like a hug in a book. To me, this was closer to that. I don't think I quite got it from Cerulean what everyone else seemed to have gotten. But I'm gonna put it like I Like You Have a Cupcake. I will continue with the series. I don't know if it was significant enough to live in my head rent free. However, it was close. Oh, this hurts me so much. We have Upgrade next by Blake Crouch, one of my favorite authors. I love Blake Crouch. However, I didn't love Upgrade as much as the other ones. Granted, when I got to the end, there was a lot of retrospectively good things that can come out of that epilogue. I really liked the message if it was meant to be as meta as I made it, but I am still not convinced that maybe it was supposed to be that meta, or if I was just salvaging it in my mind, being like, oh, maybe it was this angle all along. However, whichever way it was intended, I really enjoyed that angle, imaginary or not, because it was just at the very end. I have to put it in Girls Gone Mild because it was mild in comparison to the other reads by the author, which I really love. Next is more recent one, Kiss Her Once for Me. It's a romance book. It's a holiday romance book. It's supposed to be quite whimsical, but also tackle some really important themes. And whilst I enjoyed it, I really just didn't buy it because I mean, I'm no expert and I don't claim to be. When I did share this opinion on Instagram, I did have some validation from people who do identify as demisexuals. I just felt like having an insta love story with the main character being someone who only can be attracted to people once they really have a deep connection with someone was such a bizarre way to go with. And on some other aspects, it honestly felt a little bit preachy, like it was trying to teach you something that most of the readers of this type of book, I assume, would already know. So on top of that, the guilt trippiness did not love. Whilst it was kind of fun, I'm gonna put it in Girls Gone Wild again because I just felt, you know, there were so many things that I could nitpick and that I just did not buy the relationship, which was sad. But the vibes were good and the writing was easy and fun and the humorous bits and, you know, plenty of relatable things, especially, you know, about like finances. Quite disappointing. It started off well too. I was really enjoying it at the beginning, but like then the more we went into it, the more I was like, oh, choices were made. Then we have Legends and Lattes, which at the time was quite fun because it's obviously like D&D light and I love that stuff, you guys know. But it was a good time, not a long time, because I honestly don't think about it too often, but it was still very good. Like, it was good. But if I had to pick a sequel to read, I will read both of them. But if I had to, I would go with Society of Regular Witches over the Legends and Lattes. This is not a plot-driven book, but it doesn't mean that they didn't have a plot inserted. And I think the plot that we did choose was simply boring. I really could not care about those permits and the gangs, and it was a choice. I think there could have been another thing, but you know, that's just me, maybe that's just me. I'm glad my mom died. That one was really, really good, really good. I think I'm gonna put it in I Like You Have a Cupcake, because I definitely do. And I think the cupcake is definitely deserved. The humorous approach, I think, made it very accessible to a lot of listeners, regardless of their experience. And as someone who has no idea who this person is and never seen anything from Disney Channel, to be honest, I could still get a lot out of this book, and I was invested, and I felt, you know, sad and angry on her behalf. Then we have the Atlas 6. And I'm gonna put it in I Like You Have a Cupcake. It was a good time. I'm excited for the sequel. Window shopping! Oh, I forgot I read this. And it honestly was Girls Gone Wild. I wish I could have rooted for the couple more. I again really appreciate the theme. For that alone, it's not should have DNF'd. It would be such a good fit for the Good Time Not a Long Time, because as I said, I already forgot I read it. It wasn't that good of a time. I didn't buy the relationship again, which is why? I have issues with that, clearly. It was not a good year for romance on my part, to be honest, which is not always the case. So I don't want people commenting saying like, oh, maybe you just don't like romance. I do. Just not this year. And then we have Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow. Rent-free each day, every day for years. Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow. You can live here, my guy, till you die. Till I die. Cheery. It's a great book. I wouldn't recommend it to everyone. I can understand why people would not love it. But I did, unapologetically. Really, really loved it. This one might hurt some people, but I wish I DNF'd A Kiss Shadow Wheeler, and I was actually very close to. But because I already bought the audiobook, I persevered, and I didn't have that much left, but boy, did it feel like it. And this one, I will DNF sheerly for the stupidity of the plot. Like, the motivations made no sense. It was so muddled, and I'm sorry if you like this. I think this is a very important read to have, especially available as a teen, and I wish I did. It definitely read tone-wise similar to the books that I read when I was a teen, but unfortunately mine were very much more heteronormative, plus with all of the fat shaming and dieting as a quirk thing. So that was sad times. much to discuss in therapy there. I just cannot forgive the messiness of it. I just can't. Like, it made zero sense for the things to happen the way that they happened. There were some cute relationships on the sides, especially to root for, but my god, this short book felt like forever. I've lost something reading this, and I should have given up when I suspected that I should have given up, but I didn't. In the continuing the trend on hurting people, Daughter of the Moon Goddess, I should have DNF'd. I should have DNF'd. I kept hoping. I kept hoping. But this was like the unfortunate many parts of stereotypical YA plots and twists turned up to 100. It wasn't enough to use a couple of tropes and plot devices that normally appear in YA. No, we had to crank it up a notch and use all of them, and especially within the last 50 pages. The pacing was all over the place. We were promised the Moon Goddess and we barely got that, you know? Can you tell it was not for me? What Moves the Dead was a good time, not a long time. I don't think I will be thinking about this much. It was a good time when I read it. Similar to the things have gotten worse last we spoke, I will say I don't think that I will be quick to forget this one. So it doesn't quite fit the category, but it doesn't quite get to the I Like You Have a Cupcake either. But it was definitely a time. A time was had. All right. Lore Olympus was a good time, not a long time. It was actually surprisingly good time. But I was like quite obsessed with it because it was so easy to find that online, and because it's a webtoon, I just went and read everything until I think the end of it was like on a hiatus at that point. I know there's more now, and I just don't care. Surprising. I was so obsessed. I read everything in like a day because I was having a migraine and I needed a distraction, and it was a perfect distraction for that. And I was really invested. If there was more available at the time that I was going into this rabbit hole, I would 100% gobble that up. But there is more now, and I just find myself struggling to care as much. So it is the definition of a good time, not a long time. As Good as Dead, I Like You Have a Cupcake. No, this was not the direction a lot of people maybe appreciated or liked, or said that it was against the character. I actually fundamentally disagree. I think that the decisions made were very smart and reminiscent of emotional consequences that I think to me make a lot of sense. I wasn't necessarily the biggest fan of the like one decision made at the end. That one was just, I think, too dramatic, and it just did not need to happen. I obviously cannot say, so this is interesting, but overall I enjoyed this darker turn we took. Comfort Me with Apples was a good time, not a long time. I did enjoy it. I think I predicted it a little bit earlier than I maybe was supposed to, so that took it a little bit away from the story, but I think it was a really fun time in a sense that it's like a little bite-sized Black Mirror episode, and I enjoy those things. So, oh, we come to the things that hurt again. Bone Shard is Girls Gone Mild. If I would advise you to read a book that nothing happens, Bone Shard Emperor would be the one. Will I still read the finale? Yes, I will. Even after suffering through like 600 pages of this, because I do think that it suffered from the middle book syndrome, and I'm really hoping, because I loved the first one. I loved it, just to reiterate, right? I really liked it. If not for Mephi and whatever the other one is called now, like those were definitely the saving graces of the book, but I'm really hoping this is just the middle book syndrome and I'm going to have a better time in the last one. But boy, that was a struggle. That was a struggle. Shame. Shame. No one is talking about this. Was a very weird read. I think the two parts were very different. The second one definitely had way more substance. The first one was trying. It was trying real hard. It was trying a bit too hard. A bit cringy, a bit cringy. It was okay, and it's hard. This one's hard to rate. I'm gonna put it in we'll put it in a good time, not a long time. But then I look at Legends and Lattice in the same category. Nah, we're gonna put it in Girls Gone Mild. I think it's maybe worth the read, but I don't think it was as profound as maybe it it took itself a bit seriously. But also, it's hard to say because the second part is obviously very... Also look up trigger warnings if you want to read any of the books, but that one for sure. Oh, same as this next one, Last House on Needless Street. I am gonna put it in rent free. It was really good, but it made me scared. I was so scared. Not because it was a horror book, but because I was so terrified of this book doing mental health dirty. Because we see that a lot, you know, and you would think like, oh, but surely not. But maybe, because you don't trust things anymore. You just don't. You hope that humanity would do better, but you know for a fact that they don't. And I overall was just very fascinated with it. And there's multiple perspectives. You can be very confused as to what's happening, but at no point was I actually like struggling to comprehend what is happening, which is nice. It's a balance to find, you know. Then we have Die Volume, I want to say 3. This was a good time, not a long time. I started the series and I had such amazing hopes that this is gonna be my new favorite. The second one, then this like really made me question. This is either third or fourth, I'm not sure. And it was good. It was better than the second one, so I still have hope, but I don't know if this is gonna be like my all-time favorite. That being said, I did went and gone to back up the Kickstarter for the game, the RPG game. I'm very excited for it. Still, the artwork is, unquestionably delicious. Then we have Hollow Places. I'm gonna put it for good time, not a long time, although it is closer to I Like You Have a Cupcake, but Kingfisher is so hard for me because I love the writing, I love the humor, I love the characters, I love everything that is about it apart from plot. Like same with What Moves the Dead and The Hollow Places, these two. I like it would just like some tweaks. I would like to make some tweaks. Can I please request some tweaks? Because it could have been 5 stars. And I'm so upset. I'm upset. I'm genuinely upset. Especially for The Hollow Places, that thing. And it's even things that are discussed already, so it's not like I'm making it up. Like those things are already hinted at, and then it just left me blue-balled, and it's upsetting. It's upsetty spaghetti. Then we have the Inheritance games, which again, a good time, not a long time. I read it, it was fine, it was fun. Have not thought about it since. Will I continue? I genuinely don't know. I liked it though, but I just don't know if that's enough. Oh, The Shadow of the Gods is difficult because I really enjoyed, like, the ending was very good, but the rest of it was slightly painful. The characters were so interchangeable and the motivations of the characters were just, how many times do I have to read about it? So I'm gonna go for Girls Gone Wild. But this hurts because the world is interesting and I like a lot of it, but I clearly don't love the rest. I will say the author knew what they were doing to like hook you on, because the end, like, things really got together. We got like a big reveal. It was very satisfying at the end. Unfortunately, I just don't know that I will continue, which is it's a shame. Cemetery Boys was also a good time, not a long time. I enjoyed myself. It was really good. I think it's perfect for autumn season as well. I think the themes were done well. It was good. Follow Me to Ground. Follow Me to Ground was a time. It was, would I call it a good time? Probably not. The decisions were made, but it was a time. Yep. Moving on. The Road Trip was actually a good time, not a long time. It's out of the other romances, it actually probably would still be better, despite the fact that it's the least romancy one. Or maybe it's because of it, no. And like amazingly annoying miscommunication trope, which In My Dreams I Hold a Knife was too. Good time, not a long time. I'm excited to read a new book by the same author and see how I feel about that. It didn't quite live up to my expectations in My Dreams I Hold a Knife, but I did enjoy it. Raybearer was good. It was a really good YA. I've not read a very good YA in a while, and this really blew it out of the park for me. It, like, the world was so rich and sometimes it's quite intimidating, but I feel like it was such a gentle introduction to it, even though you are still like thrown in there and be like, survive, but it made survival easy by making you actually care for the characters. A key point, I think a lot of books just overlook, which is very important to me, a person who does not hold attention to one spot for too long if I don't get hooked very quickly. Like, my mind will wander. If you know one thing about me, one thing that you can rely on is that my mind will wander and I will stop paying attention. And I was really afraid this was gonna happen, but it didn't. And I really enjoyed it. However, there is a decision made at the very end that clearly tells you what the second book is going to be about. And that shit just sounds like work. I've already done my job in like getting to know this world and getting to know the cast and people and the court. And now you're telling me you're just gonna do what you said you're gonna do? That sounds like work. So now I don't know if I'm gonna read the second one, but the first one was really good. Summer Frost. I like you have a cupcake. I really, really enjoyed it. I think I've just seen that concept a lot before, but so I can't really quite put it in like lives in my head rent free because I don't think it has the longevity to live long rent free. But I still really enjoyed it, and it was so much better than Upgrade. Emergency Skin was on the same kind of level. I probably want to read the rest of the Amazon series because this was like a little Amazon project for like sci-fi. I have heard that these are the best. I don't know if the other ones are quite kind of bad, but maybe I'll tackle the rest this year. Beautifully Foolish Endeavor was really good. I actually think I enjoyed it more than the first one, even though I did also really enjoy the second one. Oh my god, the first one. I'll probably put it in I Like You Have a Cupcake. The second one had a talking monkey. Case made. This is how you lose the Time War. I am sorry. I think I should have just give it a rest. The concept, in love with. The execution, get out. The embarrassment of witches, I think, should have DNF'd. Artwork, it's a fun artwork. It's a fun concept. It's a fun world. The world actually felt like quite fleshed out. But I couldn't even tell you one thing that happened. I couldn't even tell you what this is about. University, being stuck in life, all the relatable things, but it really just... The Furies? Honestly, this is, maybe it's a bit harsh, but I probably could have DNF'd it. Didn't provide me anything, not even enjoyment. Like, looking back at it, if this list simply did not have the Furies, I would have been just the same. I didn't gain anything, even at least from some of these. Like, there was something, you know, this is how you lose the time where I really liked the idea of it. It was so beautiful. The comic had pretty art. The Moon Goddess had a beautiful world. Kishara Wheeler had some like jokes in it. The Furies had spoiled people in it. And it's not a good thing, so... Before the Coffee Gets Cold, I really, really had such higher expectations of this than what I ended up thinking of it, I think. It was still like good, so I'm gonna put it in a good time, not a long time. I just think that there was so much repetition about, you know, like reintroducing the cafe or repeating things within the short stories that I feel like that was waste of property, like waste of page time that we could have explored a bit more of those emotions. But there were some stories that were really strong, and there were some that I was just like, this is killing the vibe. But it was still good. Pet was great. I really liked Pet. It's such a heartbreaking story, but it's so filled with like love and care, and it's so carefully crafted. I thought it was very beautifully done. Psychology of Time Travel, I think I'm gonna put it I Like You Have a Cupcake, but like it's quite recent, so it could later on go down to Good Time Not a Long Time. I'm not quite sure. It's pretty fresh in my memory. Because it has time travel, it's very hard for me not to like. It is my reader's heel, I guess. But we do actually focus, like the title for once is not misleading. Moon Goddess. And we do actually focus on the effect that time travel actually just existing as a concept in your world can have on you psychologically, whether or not you do the time travel. And I really enjoyed that. Was it a bit convoluted and was a mystery quite predictable? Sure. But I still enjoyed it and appreciate that theme being looked into. Bloom was Girls Gone Mild. Similarly to... Actually, I'm madder at this, so... Maybe DNF? Everyone just gave so much slack to the main character that I don't necessarily think that they deserved it. They were such a dick to everyone, and everyone just let him walk all over them. made me angry. Kindred is hard because it was a good time, not a long time, but it's also I Like You Have a Cupcake. It's very much in between of that. It made me want to read more from the author, marketed even on the actual book as a time travel thing, which it is, but the time travel, like there's a difference when there's a book that has time travel and where time travel is simply just a tool for the story to be told. The marketing kind of put a stick in the book's wheels because it really put the expectation in a completely different genre. But it was good. It was like, you know, again, objectively, not that I think that you can be, but objectively, it was really good. Then we have a bunch of which. So the first one has to go into Rent-Free because I honestly just had such a time going down the memory lane. The rest were like, here. Good time, not a long time. They were like, okay, I'm still gonna continue. I'm really excited to reread those as well. But the first one was just such a kick into like, it pressed some sort of button in my memory. Like, you know, when you start remembering things, you start smelling your childhood. That's how I felt. Maybe that's just me though. Do You Dream of Terror too? I actually enjoyed it, I think, more than I thought at the time. I'm gonna put it like I Like You Have a Cupcake. There are so many flaws, so many like fundamental flaws to the story, especially when we're talking about like who let them do this. Like, why are the people who are supposed to supervise so shit at supervising something that's like a national program that supposedly would have like a bunch of resources? It just makes no sense that the shit that went down would go down if that training that we're talking about was actually done. So fundamentally, really just like, what? But I just enjoyed it. I just enjoyed it a lot. So I'm still gonna be like, have a cupcake. Daughter of the Pirate King was Girls Gone Wild. It was a good time because there was some, you know, humor, but I don't think I'm in any rush of reading the second one. I don't know if I ever will, but because it is a duology, maybe? Record of a Spaceborne Few, another one that kind of hurts me to put into Good Time, Not a Long Time, because I am a long-time fan of Becky Chambers. Their books are amazing and I love them. And I still really, really enjoyed this one, but it was just not quite on par with the other ones. Although the short story also didn't quite get there for me, so I'm scared. Who am I? But I am hoping to read the fourth one and hope for the best. Here comes some, so If We Were Villains, I actually read when I was hoping to do a whole reading vlog on reading Dark Academia. Spoiler alert, I only managed to read this book and it took me the whole fucking month. So, safe to say the video did not happen. And the book, I'm gonna put it in a Good Time, Not a Long Time. I feel like I've read a different book. I feel like I'm missing something. Like I understand the appeal, but it was so like mid-road. I don't think that it had anything that was like so mind-blowing. I am really sorry. You're all just gonna unfollow me. It's okay. It was just yeah. It was good. Don't get me wrong, it was good, but just because it was always such a, you know, when you're talking about Dark Academia, people say like, oh, it's better than the one that started it all, which is like The Secret History. It's just so much better. It's so good and it's so gripping and it's so intriguing, and clearly the intrigue was not very high for me to take a whole month basically to read this. It was just it was okay, it was good. I would literally put it on par with like In My Dreams I Hold the Knife. I'm sorry. Neverwhere I Should Have DNF'd. I'm gonna just leave it at that. We're not gonna get into that conversation again. I speak a little bit more. I realized that travel stories, but especially quirky travel stories, are not for me. Like I need more direction than that. Morningstar, I Like You Have a Cupcake. You have redeemed my confusion from the second book. I enjoyed you a lot. Thank you. You've hurt me though. That wasn't very nice now, was it? Anyway, looking forward to the next series of that. We'll be continuing. Way of Kings Part 2. It was good. It was really good. This can live in my head rent-free purely for the last 100 pages. Apart from that, it would be in like I Like You Have a Cupcake, but the last 100 pages, goddamn. And Elantris, I also extremely enjoyed, so I Like You Have a Cupcake also. And that then concludes the list. This is how the list looks like. I would say it was like a better than usual year. Not the best maybe, but I'm really happy. I think I read across a wide array of books as well, which is always nice, and I hope to continue doing that. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Again, I know the ranking videos are not for everyone, but if you missed my thoughts on any of the books, I hope this was like a short intro into how that feels like. Thank you so much for watching. Stay awesome, stay kind, and I will see you in a next one very soon. Bye!